Okay, I was going to make this video basically a rundown of all the high profile hacks that lolsec and Anonymous have carried out in the past, like in this year so far. What I was going to do was I was going to go and summarize each one, briefly explain why they did it, what the results were, and the date, and of course what it was done to. However, upon doing a little bit of research, I found that this list is huge. It's monumentally long. I mean, this is one starting from January rather. January the 2nd, they hacked Tunisia. January the 22nd, Egypt. And also January the 22nd, it was Utah, Michigan, Alabama, Italy, the United States Army, and so on and so forth. On February the 5th, NASDAQ. February the 6th, HP Gary. February the 11th, Iran. February the 18th, Canada. February the 22nd, Voice of America. February 24th, Westboro Baptist Church. March 3rd, WordPress. March the 4th, South Korea. March the 7th, French Finance Ministry. March the 17th, Hollywood Starlets. March the 17th as well, the RSA. March the 23rd, European Commission. European External Action Service. March 24th, TripAdvisor, and also on March the 24th, New Zealand Department of Internal Affairs. On March the 25th, the RIAA.com website. On March the 27th, it was the mysql.com website. March the 29th was the Australian and the European Parliaments. March the 30th was Epsicon. I'm not entirely sure if I pronounced that correctly, but I don't really care. On April the 4th, Sony, for the first time. Yeah, first time. April the 13th, WordPress. April 17th, European Space Agency. And also on the April 17th, there was the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. April 20th, the PlayStation Network. In other words, Sony again. On March 25th, the New York Yankees. On May the 2nd, Sony Online Entertainment, so Sony, third time. May 4th, The X Factor. May 5th, Sony, fifth time, really. On May 9th, lolsec hacked Anonymous. I'm going to go back to that later and explain what happened. On May the 13th, Fox News. On May the 16th, Her Majesty's Treasury. On May the 17th was NASA and the Massachusetts Executive Office of Labour and Workforce Development. On March the 27th was Lockheed Martin. On March the 29th was PBS. On June the 1st was Google Gmail. Also on June the 1st was L3 Communications. On June the 3rd, Infraguard. On June the 6th, Nintendo. On June the 8th, Canada's Conservative Party. On June the 9th, Citigroup. And I have, of course, missed out on the last bit because it hasn't been updated for a while, this website. Now, before we go on, I was going to go back to May the 9th and just work out what happened there, because Anonymous was hacked. Anonymous. Okay. According to this, there was a disgruntled follower of the Hacktivist movement turned on the group and took over some message boards where Anonymous plans their attacks. Well, for starters, this has made Sony look even more ridiculous. 5 times. 5. And they haven't updated their system security at all. And secondly, it seems that no one's safe from this. Like, there's government departments being hacked by what is, by all accounts, I won't go as far as say as some basement dwellers, but some people that usually would be considered to be pretty harmless. They're going around and they're hacking government websites. Honestly, I think that as it stands, governments in the world over seem to be about the last in line when it comes to cybersecurity. Like, everyone else seems to be getting there first. Governments and major corporations, rather, seem to be falling behind the common person when it comes to online, because they're just getting flattened. Like, at every turn, they're getting no respite from this, and they're basically just, every time that Anonymous decides to go and hack someone, it seems to turn out pretty well. I mean, it might, of course, I wouldn't know, but there might be some hacks that don't get pulled off. But they're happening such like so frequently that it's astonishing that the government still has not, like, governments the world over still have not been able to do anything about it, and still haven't been able to update their security systems. I mean, it's ridiculous. If they, okay, the thing is, I support Anonymous, but what I've got to wonder is, these governments are supposed to be, you know, maintaining the nation's security and all that, and they're obviously failing at that dismally if they can be hacked by a group of online, you know, just untrained people who have just basically taught themselves how to hack. If they're being defeated by those sorts of people, what do you think would happen if one country decides to, you know, wage an online war against another? What do you think would happen then? I mean, it's just ridiculous, really. I mean, you'd expect them to even be able to, you'd be able to expect them to put up a fight, like, you know, the authorities. But then just not. They're sort of like just kneeling over and just taking this shit. Like, of course, I don't support them at all, but, and I think they deserve it, but it's just the fact that they are being absolutely routed online. It just makes me think, well, if they're not in charge anymore in society, who is? Well, anyway, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, because I think that next coming decade will be a time when the internet will be a major point of conflict between groups like Anonymous and LulzSec and the authorities, and it's going to eventually come to the point where the authorities have to do something, and they do the only thing, they then do the only thing they know how to do, which is basically permaban the entire country from the internet. And when that happens, all Anonymous has to do is basically just hack them and absolutely pwn them yet again, and then the government will be shown out to be a bunch of lying hypocrites. And honestly, it would depend on what else that government has done as to whether or not the people of a nation trust them anymore. Like, I know for a fact that if that happened in this country, and our government tried to censor the internet, and then Anonymous pwned them, and then the government tried to cover their asses on national TV or whatever, I know for a fact that I certainly wouldn't be accepting their leadership after that. And I would not be, I will not kneel down to their authority. I mean, I don't really, like, no one really kneels down to authority, but I wouldn't accept them as authority after that. I mean, if they're obviously incapable of protecting their own state secrets, I don't know what business they have in trying to run a society. However, I find it quite interesting that Anonymous, LulzSec, and just, you know, freelance hackers basically have this sort of expertise. I mean, last time I checked, I don't think you learn how to hack at university, so it's all must be self-taught, or at least learnt off another person who taught themselves. In that case, where on earth do they get the skills from? Like, where on earth do people get these kind of skill sets? And how? Like, I for one would love to be able to hack. It'd be a good skill to have. But, like, you know, I would not know how to go about learning how to do it. And the thing is, if you fuck up when you're trying to learn how to do it, chances are you're probably going to get, you know, a major kick up the arse, especially if you're doing it in something like, you know, a government interest or a corporate interest. But either way, I'm kind of glad these people are here, actually, just, you know, just providing endless lols for the rest of us and just pwning the government. Although it does bring up some very interesting questions as to, does the government really deserve to be running a society if they can't even protect their own interwebs? I mean, their security must be that lax that it's not even funny. Anyway, this video has kind of gone on for a bit too long already, and I'll put a link in the description to the source where I got all those lists from, and you can look up more of the events that you're interested in if you want there. So, yes, I'm still looking for a new format. I haven't yet found one, but I will keep you posted on that. Anyway, goodbye.